Hello all, Trish here from Mercury Bracelets, and today I'd like to show you how to make this cute little paw print pattern. It's a shaped pattern, so yeah, this is what it will look like after a few wraps. So you need 2 colors, 7 strings each, to make 14 strings. Each string length is about 3 feet from top to bottom. And then you just put a little messy knot at the top, unless of course that's what you're actually using for your start. But I just put a loose knot in there, like so. It's just nice and loose, just to hold underneath the clipboard. And yeah, so when you start, you need to start with 7 strings on one side and 7 strings on the other side. And then you need to take 1 string from the color, bunch up all the colors, and just do a forward knot over the left string. And then you put that off to the side, and you take your next string, and you continue doing that on this side, and on this side you want to do the same thing, but you want to do it with backward knots, like so. I shall be right back. Alright, so now that you have that done, don't worry if there's a little hole right here, like so, because it's not noticeable depending on how tight you do your strings. The tighter that you do this first knot is how prominent this little hole will be. And what you want to do is you want to take one of your right hand strings, and you want to do a backwards knot over your right string, or your left string. And then you just take this and you continue in a candy stripe fashion with your left hand string all the way to the blue, or the last blue. Okay, so now that that's done, you want to take your next orange string, and you want to do 2 forwards knots, one and 2. Then you want to do a backwards knot, and then a forwards knot, and a backwards knot, and 2 forwards knots. One and 2. You want to take your next orange string, you want to do forwards knot, and then a backwards knot, and then all the way to the end in forwards knots. So that's 5 forwards knots. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, then you take your next orange one. There it is. Alright, so you take your next orange one and you do 3 forwards knots. One, two, and 3. And then you do 3 backwards knots. 1, 2, and 3. Then a forwards knot. Alright, so row 7, take your next string in the pattern and do 1 forwards knot, 1 backwards knot, 1 forwards knot, and 3 backwards knots. One, two, and 3. And do 1 forward knot, bunch up your strings, take your next string in the pattern, trying to be all bad over here, and do 3 forwards knots. 1, 2, and 3. 2 backwards knots. 1, 2, and 2 forwards knots. Alright, and lastly but not least, take your last string on the left and do a full row of forwards knots onto the last blue. It's 1, 2, oops, 6, and 7. Alright, then after that, let's see if I can straighten this out a little bit. You want to take your left strings, which are now the colors that were over here on this side. You want to make them do backwards knot, then bunch those 2 up together and do another backwards knot. And then bunch those together, and then just continue that all the way across, like so. Okay, so now that that's done, you want to do the same thing with forward knots on the right hand side. And bunch them up like this. I shall be right back. Alright, and then after that, you just want to start the pattern again by doing forwards knots. Taking one of your strings on the left side and doing forward knots. And then taking your strings on the right and doing backwards knots. And then if you've done it right, it should come out looking like this. Now each 2 reps of this pattern is 1.5 inches roughly. So this right here is 3, almost 4 inches. But yeah. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye!